Cloris Leachman is someone else that I really didn't know much about. But, more to the point, I didn't know I'd seen her in things. She's been in a million different things, on the stage, on television, in TV movies, in motion pictures. She was in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, where I'm pretty sure I must have seen her, Young Frankenstein, and then throughout her career she appeared in virtually every TV show ever made. She was in Rawhide and Gunsmoke and Twilight Zone and 77 Sunset Strip. This is right way back in the day. She was in Perry Mason and Dr. Kildare and Big Valley and Wonder Woman and The Simpsons and The Ellen Show, Family Guy. She just gets... I mean, the list on her resume is absolutely phenomenal. In 1997, she posed naked on the front of an alternative medicine magazine. And later, because she was a vegetarian, she posed for an ad for PETA, you know, the animal rights organization, wearing a dress made entirely out of cabbage leaves and lettuce. Good for her. So, you know, she's absolutely amazing. A legend. When I went into the Energy, she was standing holding onto a rail. And it's almost like the energy of the universe was going to her, come on, let go, it's time now. But she wouldn't let go of this railing. And she goes, I think I'm going to walk down here. And they go, no, you can float, you can fly, it's fine. You're without your physical, mortal, three-dimensional, cumbersome body now. Your consciousness can float. Apparently she was an atheist. So maybe she wasn't necessarily trusting of the process. I don't know much about that part of her. She walks down the side of the tunnel, perfectly happy, controlling her own pace, deciding the rate at which she will go. Meanwhile, the universe is going, come on, let go. Trust. Have a bit of faith. Eventually, she starts to rise. She does this thing that we've seen in other pictures where she starts to shed the encumbrances of mortality, the ties of the ego to the three-dimensional self. And as she moves forward, these giant bubbles, they're not really bubbles, but light bubbles, like in a lava lamp, you know, that kind of waxy bubble that moves around? It's a bit like that, came towards her. And as they brushed up against her, each one removed a little bit more of her resistance. She maneuvered around them, brushing up against them, feeling lighter, feeling better all the time. And once they'd gone, she was faced with a curtain. Like two very crude plastic sheets, basically, just slung together. Like you get on building sites sometimes, to keep the dust in. And she peers through, still not fully trusting the process, by the way. She peers through and goes, I don't know, not sure still. It's like, what do you need to convince you? There's no going back now, lady. And she pushes through the plastic sheets. And then instead of going into the membrane that I usually see as the end point of this process, she walks around it. Going, really? Mm-hmm. Okay. You're thinking I'm going to go into this? Really? Yeah, okay. And she walks around, and after a while, she's curious enough to put her arm through it. She sticks her arm in and wiggles her fingers around. It's like, oh, right, okay. I'm not sure what she was feeling at that point. I'm never allowed beyond that point. Just, I don't know, what is that? And then, finally, she let go and went. And I did wonder whether, in the end, this didn't come down to self-love. Because trust and self-love kind of go hand in hand. There's a thing written by Anita Mojani. It says, think of the journey your soul has been on. Look back on everything that your soul has been through. Acknowledge it all. Just feel the love you feel for your soul. That is self-love. When you can do that, your aura expands. And that's the love energy you bring other people into. In other words, be a beacon. Don't struggle, don't stress out about things. Just be a beacon, be the best person you can be. This is why that Melania thing, where, you know, that Be Best? Remember that Be Best campaign she had? It's such a nonsense. Don't be best, that's competition. That's a Trumpian thing. Be your best. Be the best you can be. Love yourself enough to magnify yourself and be a beacon for others. That's self-love. And I do wonder whether the issue of trust in these transition pictures isn't to do with self-love. Because if you love yourself, if you love your soul, you will also love the process of transition, and it will be easier. And it's not to say this was hard. It wasn't a hard transition, but it took effort for the universe, seemingly, to coax her into acceding to the process. It could have been easier. But her mortal self, her conscious self, was still clinging on and couldn't shed the ego in order to allow the soul to be transported. That's what it felt like.